Hello students, welcome once again to our e-learning platform. I still remain your mathematics teacher, Mr. Ndubisi Ephraim. Before we begin our lesson this morning, let's do some corrections to the assignments you were given previously. Our assignment ranges from number 1 to number 8, which number 1 says define plane shapes. If you recall, as we explained in our previous lesson, that in geometry, that word plane means flat. So we are more interested on the flat surface, on the surface of the shape, not the inner part of it. So we define plane shapes as flat two-dimensional shapes. In other words, we call it 2D shapes. Then number 2, state two differences between a square and a rectangle. Some of you made mistakes here, of which you were kind of writing the similarities instead of the differences. So when we say the differences between two things, we mean what this one have that the other one doesn't have. All right, so let's have a look at the corrections to that. Number A square has 4 lines of symmetry, while a rectangle has 2 lines of symmetry. As you can see, a square having 4 lines of symmetry and a rectangle having 2 lines of symmetry. You can see the difference between the two of them. All right, then B part, in a square, all sides are equal, while only one pair of opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. Only the opposite sides of it are equal. But in a square, all sides are equal. Then number 3, state two differences between a rhombus and parallelogram. Alright, the first one there, a parallelogram has no line of symmetry, while a rhombus has 2 lines of symmetry. Okay, then the second part of it, all sides of a rhombus are equal in length, while only pair of opposite sides of parallelogram are equal and parallel. All right, then number 4 says perimeter of a circle can also be called the circumference of the circle. So it's either you call it the perimeter of a circle or you call it the circumference of the circle. Then number 5, rhombus has no line of symmetry, true or false? The answer is false, because rhombus has 2 lines of symmetry. Then number 6, the sum of interior angles of a triangle is equal to 180 degree. Then number 7, the sum of interior angles of any quadrilateral is equal to 360 degree. Then the last question, a circle has dashed lines of symmetry. That's an infinite number of lines of symmetry. Now let's move to the main business of today. I hope you understood this quite clearly. Now you can write the corrections in your assignment book. I will check it when you come for submission next week. Now let's start the new topic. Now we are to continue with our week 2, the concluding part of it, that is period 2, of which we are continuing with it, which is still on plane shapes, and the subtopic is perimeter of plane shapes. Then here are the objectives of the lesson. These are some of the things you are expected to comprehend by the end of this learning session. By the end of this learning session, you should be able to 1. Name polygons considering their number of sides. That means we are going to recognize polygons with respect to their number of sides. Then number 2, we should be able to state the units of length and convert from one unit to another. Then 3, we should be able to solve the perimeter of regular and irregular plane shapes. Alright, then let's move immediately. The first one we have here, polygon. You know, we talked about this polygon a lot. So polygon, we have different varieties of polygons, and we distinguish one from the other based on their number of sides. Before we begin to identify them, let's define polygon. We say that a polygon is a closed figure with straight edges, just like a triangle. It has 3 edges. Therefore, it has 3 sides, and we call it what? Triangle. We have some other examples, as you can see below. Then the name of polygon, then the number of sides. So polygon with 3 sides is called triangle. Polygon with 3 sides is called triangle. Polygon with 4 sides is called quadrilateral. Just like I explained in our previous lesson, we have different varieties of quadrilaterals. These are 4-sided figures like a rectangle, rhombus, parallelogram, even kites. In as much as it has 4 sides, we call them what? Quadrilaterals. Then the one with 5 sides is called pentagon. Any polygon with 5 sides, we call it what? Pentagon. Then the one with 6 sides is called hexagon. The one of 7 sides is called heptagon. The one of 8 sides is called octagon. The one of 9 sides is called nonagon. And the one with 10 sides is called decagon. Mind you, question may come out from this during the exam, whereby you will be asked to name a polygon with certain number of sides. You may be asked to name the polygon with 6 sides, of which the name will be what? Hexagon. If you are asked to mention the name of the polygon with 9 sides, what do you say? Nonagon. So these are some of the examples of polygons that we have. We have so many of them, but we stop here. This is where you have to stop at your level. Then we move to the next slide. Units of length. The unit for measuring length and distances in everyday life. Here are some of the parameters. That is millimeter, which we denote with mm. Centimeter, which we denote with cm. The meters, which we denote with m. And kilometers, which we denote with km. So these are some of the various measuring the units of length and distances in everyday life. Here are some of the conversions. We said that 10 millimeter is equivalent to 1 centimeter. In those days, we sing it as a song by saying 10 millimeter make 1 centimeter, 100 centimeter make 1 meters. Okay, you can find this at the back of your exercise books. Then 1000 millimeter is equivalent to 1 meters. Then 1000 meters is equivalent to 1 kilometer. Here I devised a kind of chart that will enable you to understand this conversion, the conversion between the various units of length quite properly. Now just pay attention, you'll be able to understand it. With this kind of chart, it will help you to be able to analyze and do some various conversions between these units of length. Here we have millimeter, centimeter, meters, kilometers. Now you can see the arrow that moves toward the right hand side. That arrow signifies division. Then we also have the one placed below, okay, which is pointing towards the left hand side. That one signifies multiplication. So for you to be able to do this, I expect you to write from the smallest of the units to the biggest of it. Here we have millimeter. After millimeter, you have centimeter. After centimeter, you have meters. After meters, you have kilometers. Now, how do we make use of this in converting from one unit to another? Now, looking at this particular arrow that points towards the right hand side, meaning that you will be converting from millimeter to centimeter, or you are converting from centimeter to meters, or you are converting from meters to kilometers, or even you are converting from millimeter to all the way to meters, or you are even converting from millimeter all the way to kilometer. All right, meaning that you are going towards the right hand side. What do you do when you are moving towards the right hand side? That means you divide. Okay, now between millimeter and centimeter we have 10. Between centimeter and meters we have 100. Between meters and kilometers we have 1000. How do we switch between the two units? If you are converting from, remember, going to the right hand side, you divide. If you are converting from millimeter to centimeter, what do? You divide by 10. The number in between them is what we utilize for their conversion. Millimeters to centimeter, you divide by 10. The reason is because we are moving towards the right hand side. Alright, then if you are converting from centimeter to meters, you divide by 100. If you are converting from meters to kilometers, you divide by 1000. Then again, if you are converting from millimeter to meters, you can see you jumped one side of it. Converting from millimeter to meters. Look at what you do here. You can see you have two numbers in between them, between millimeter and meters. You have 10 and 100 in between them. So what you do is that you combine the two of them by multiplication. That's 10 times 100, which will give us what? 1000. So switching between millimeter to meter, you divide by 1000. If you are switching between millimeter and kilometer, that is to say you have to multiply 10 by 100, which will give us 1000. Then 1000 times 1000, that will give us 100,000. So you have to divide by 100,000 if you are converting from millimeter to kilometer, and so on. If you are switching between meter to kilometer, what do? You divide by 1000. That's how you do it when you are moving from the smallest unit to the right. Alright, then what if the arrow goes this way? Maybe you are converting from the bigger unit to a smaller unit. Let's say kilometer to meter, meter to centimeter, centimeter to millimeter. Alright, remember it is going towards the left hand side. What do? We multiply. So between kilometer and meter, we have 1000. So if you are converting kilometer to meter, you multiply by 1000. If you are converting from meter to centimeter, what do? You multiply by 100. If you are converting from centimeter to millimeter, you multiply by 10. That's how it goes. Once you understand this chart appropriately, you can sketch it in your rough. Any question given to you between the conversion of one unit to the other, you should be able to do that. Now let's move to the next slide. Here we have some examples. Number 1, convert 23 centimeter to millimeter. Number 2, convert 2000 millimeter to meters. Number 3, convert 4.5 meters to centimeters. Number 4, convert 1800 meters to kilometers. Now let's have a look at the first one. The first one says convert 23 centimeters to millimeter. So we are converting from centimeter to millimeter. What do? Centimeter to millimeter. You can see centimeter here, okay, to millimeter. What do? We are going towards the left hand side. Remember what we do? We multiply. That is to say, changing centimeter to millimeter, we multiply by 10. As you can see here, we have it as 23 times 10 equal to what? 230 millimeters. Then number 2, convert 2000 millimeter to meters. 2000 millimeters to meters. So we are converting from millimeter to meters. What do? Millimeter to meters. Millimeter to meters. Now we are going to the right. We are going to the right. Millimeter to meters. So what do when we are going to the right? We divide. But this time around, there are two numbers between them, which is 10 and 100. And when you multiply both of them, it will give you 1000. So switching from millimeter to meters, we divide by 1000. That's why we have it as 2000, as in our question, divided by 1000. 0 cancel 0. This 0, we also cancel this 0. Then this 0, we also cancel this 0. We are left with what? 2 divided by 1, which will give us what? 2 meters. Then number 3, convert 4.5 meters to centimeter. How do we do that? We are converting from meter to centimeter. Meter to centimeter. You can see it here. Meter to centimeter. We are going back. So meaning that we have to multiply meter to centimeter. We multiply by what? 100, because 100 is the number between meter and centimeter. So we are changing from meter to centimeter. So we are doing what? We are to multiply. Then looking at the solution here, that will now be 4.5 times 100, which will give us 450. This is where we demonstrated it quite clearly here. Changing 4.5 to fraction. You've already done this in the previous terms. 4.5 to fraction. You call this 0.1, call the other number 0. That gives us 45 over 10. That's what we have here. Times 100. So this 0 will cancel this 0. We are left with what? 45 times 10. And 45 times 10 will give us what? 450 centimeters. Then the last question there, we have convert 1,800 meters to kilometers. Okay, let's look at it now. Meters to kilometers. You can see it here, meters to kilometers. So we are moving to the right, meaning that we have to divide meters to kilometers. We have to divide by what? 1,000. All right, let's have a look at it. You can see it here. Then this 0 will cancel this 0. This 0 will cancel this 0. Then you are left with what? 18 over 10. You know how to drive. You can drive with your 0. Will come all the way to this place. You now have it as 1.8. That's why we have it as 1.8 kilometers as our answer here. I hope you understand this quite clearly. Now let's move to the next slide. Here is the main business of today: perimeter of plane shapes. What do we call this perimeter? Because you need to understand what perimeter means before we can actually begin to do some solving there. Perimeter is the distance round the shape. Distance round the shape. We say that perimeter of a given shape is the distance round the shape. That is what we call the perimeter of that particular shape. Now looking at some of the examples here, like for instance, this rectangle we have here, this is the length. If you recall, we said that two opposite sides of a rectangle are equal and parallel. Then this place is the width, this place is also the width, right? So what we mean here is that if you are asked to find the perimeter of a shape like this, you have to go all the way around the shape, from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, and from here to here. So actually you are dealing with addition of all of these sides. So if these sides are given in terms of numbers, all you do is this side plus this side plus this side plus this side. That gives us the perimeter of this shape. That is distance round the shape. That gives us what? The perimeter of that particular shape. I hope it's very clear. Now we move to the actual thing here, which is the perimeter of a rectangle. Perimeter of a rectangle. That's the distance around the shape. Here we have the length, we have the length, we have the width, we have the width. So the formula will now be addition of all these sides. So as you can see, we have two lengths there. That's length plus width. As you can see it from the diagram, we add it together. So we can use this formula to find the perimeter of a rectangle, which we can also extend to mean length. How many lengths do we have here? Two lengths. So I write it 2L plus how many widths do we have here? 2W. Then we'll write it as what? 2W. Then they have something in common here. What they have in common is 2. This one has 2, this one has 2. So you write that 2, which they have in common, open a bracket and write L plus W, which when you open the bracket, you will still get the same thing by saying 2 times L will give us 2L plus 2 times W will give us 2W. So both of them are still the same thing. So that brings us to the main formula for calculating the perimeter of a rectangle. So the formula for calculating the perimeter of a rectangle is 2 bracket length plus width bracket close. That is the formula for calculating the perimeter of a rectangle. I hope you've grabbed it immediately. Hold it in your head, because I will ask you this question when you'll be coming for submission of the assignment you'll be given at the end of this lesson. So you have to know all these formulas. You have to grab them, and so that when I ask you a question about the formula for calculating any of the shapes that we'll be discussing today, you should be able to provide an answer to that. Then we have some examples here. Find the perimeter of the shapes below. Number 1, you have 5 as length, 5 centimeter. Then the width is 4 centimeter. Then number 2, you have 3.7 as the width, then 6.5 as the length here. Now let's give solution to these questions. Number 1, we have the length. I advise you to always bring out the information about that particular question before you start solving. Here we have the length. We specified it here as length being equal to 5 centimeter. Then the width being 4 centimeter. Then we now have the formula. The formula for calculating the perimeter of a rectangle, which is 2 bracket length plus width, just like we demonstrated before this particular one. Here we can now substitute the values of these symbols, of these alphabets, with the numbers they represent. So we can now say perimeter equal to 2, as we have it here, bracket, the length is 5. So in place of the length, we put 5 here, plus, in place of the width, we put 4. Okay, we put 4 here. Then we can now open the bracket. We have our 2. This bracket signifies multiplication. So once you remove the bracket, you are applying what? Multiplication. So add the ones you have inside. That is 5 plus 4, which will give us 9. So therefore, 2 times 9 will give us 8 centimeters. You can actually solve it this way by adding all the signs. Here is 5. That means this place must definitely be what? 5. If this place is 4, this place must definitely be what? 4. Because we say opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. So we have 5 here. 5, 4, 4. So we can actually solve it with the first formula that we got there, which is perimeter, length plus width. So in which length, we have 2 of it. That's 5 plus 5 plus 4 plus 4. That will give us the same answer as what? 18. But during the exam, I don't need this or. Solve with one example, solve with one formula. Okay, don't show me or. Okay, just use one out of the 2 of them, 2 methods that we utilize there. Then number 2, the width here. Okay, we'll start with the length. The length is 6.5, as you can see here, meters. Then the width is 3.7 meters. So let's demonstrate it. We already know the formula of calculating the perimeter of a rectangle as 2 bracket length plus width, bracket closed. Then the perimeter equal to 2, as we have it here, bracket. The length is 6.5, as you have it here, plus, then the width 3.7, as we have it here. So we try to open the bracket now. 2, when you remove the bracket, it becomes times, then add what you have inside the bracket. That's 6.5 plus 3.7. This is where we demonstrated it. So 5 plus 7 will give us 12. We write 2, carry 1. That one you carried here, remember you bring down your point. The one you carried plus 6 will give us 7. Then 7 plus 3 will give us 10. So we have it as 10.2. So perimeter equal to 10.2. That's the 2 times 10.2, as we have it here. So multiplying these two to get our answer, this is where we demonstrated it also. 2 times 2 will give us 4. Bring down our point. 2 times 0 will give us 0. Then 2 times 1 will give us 2. So that gives us 20.4. Okay, which gives us the same answer as we have it here, 20.4 meters as our answer. I hope so far so good. All right, let's move to the next one. Here we are to look at the perimeter of a square. Perimeter of a square. If you remember what we did in our previous lesson, where we identified some of the properties of square and other plane shapes, we said that in a square all sides are equal. So we make all sides to be what? Length. That is to say, whatever the number represents here also represent the ones we have at this other side. That means this one is 5. This place must definitely be what? 5, as we have it. All true, because all sides are equal. Then the perimeter of a square, then you add all the sides, because we know that the perimeter of a given shape is the distance around the shape. So we can now say length plus length plus length plus length. All the 4 of them, you add them together. So now the question is, how many lengths do we have here? That is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 lengths. We call it 4L, which means 4 times length. That's the formula for calculating the perimeter of a square. Perimeter of a square is equal to 4 times length. So whatever given to you as the length, you multiply it by 4. That gives you the answer. Then example, solve the perimeter of the following shapes. Number 1, you have 5 as the length. Number 2, you have 8.2 meters as the length. So let's solve the first one. The length is 5 centimeters. Then the perimeter is 4 times length, just like we demonstrated it here. 4 times length. That is the formula for calculating the perimeter of a square. Therefore, then the perimeter is equal to 4. Our length is 5, so times 5 equal to 20 centimeters rather. There, or you can make all of them 5, since all sides are equal. Then you add all of them together, 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. That gives us 20 centimeters. Then for number 2, the length is 8.2 meters. We use the same formula, which is 4 times length. So the length is given to us as 8.2 meters. So perimeter of a square will now be 4 times our length, which is 8.2. This is where we demonstrated it. 4 times 2 will give us 8 point. Bring down your point. 4 times 8 will give us what? 32. That gives us 32.8 meters as our answer. So you can as well since all sides are equal in a square, you make this place 8.5, this place 8.5, this place 8.5, then you add all of them together, just like we did it here, and you get 32.8 as your answer. So far so good, I believe that. So let's move to the next one. Perimeter of a triangle. Here is a triangle. A triangle is a polygon with 3 sides. No matter the type of triangle, be it isosceles triangle, equilateral triangle, once the value is given, you should be able to add all of them together. That gives you the distance around the shape, meaning the perimeter of the triangle. So therefore, the perimeter of a triangle will now be A plus B plus C. In calculation, this A and B and C will be represented with numbers. So let's have some examples. Find the perimeter of the following shapes. Number 1, we have a triangle with sides 10 meters, 4 meters, 7 meters. Then number 2, the one of 6.2 centimeters, 8 centimeters, and 7.5 centimeters. So let's take the first one. Remember, the distance around the shape signifies the perimeter of this particular shape. So we have it. You already know the formula A plus B plus C. It doesn't matter where you start. You can start from here, 4 plus 10 plus 7, or you can even start from 7 plus 10 plus 4. So it doesn't matter how you start. So we have it this way, 4 plus 10 plus 7, which will give us what? 21 meters as our answer. Then for the other one, these are decimal numbers. Here we have 6.2, 8, 7.5. We add all of them together. Okay, that gives us the perimeter of the triangle as we have it here. So that will now be 6.2 plus 7.5 plus 8. Alright, so you can see all of them here, 6.2 plus 7.5. Then our 8 is just 8. But for you to avoid making some silly mistakes, you can make this one to be in one decimal place also by writing 8.0. Okay, it's still the same thing as 8. Alright, then that will now be 2 plus 5 will give us 7. Bring down your point. Then 6 plus 7 will give us 13. Then 13 plus 8 will give us 21. So our solution to that question will now be 21.7 meters as our answer. Alright, let's move to the next one. Perimeter of parallelogram. Perimeter of a parallelogram is quite simple. You add all the sides, just like we demonstrated in the other ones. Perimeter of parallelogram will now be A plus B plus C plus D. You can see it here, A plus B plus C plus D. Okay, but it doesn't matter where you start. Okay, we have some examples here. Find the perimeter of the shape below. You have the length of it as 200 millimeters, then the width of it as 150 millimeters. Remember, the two opposite sides of parallelogram are equal and parallel. Then this other side is also equal to this side. So if this side is 200 millimeters, then this side must definitely be what? 200 millimeters. If this side is 150 millimeters, this side should also be what? 150 millimeters. So we cannot add all of them by saying 200, as you have it here, plus another 200, which is this one, plus 150, okay, plus another 150, which will be here. And when you add all of them together, they will give us what? 700 millimeters. Now we move to the next one, which is the perimeter or the circumference of the circle. Just like in your assignment, where you are asked another name, or perimeter of a circle can also be called dash. What we call it, circumference of the circle. So it's either you call it the perimeter of a circle or you call it the circumference of the circle. So we'll be looking at that of a circle and semicircle. Alright, here we have it. A circle with radius. Remember that radius is the line from the center of the circle to any part of the circumference. That is the radius, just like we demonstrated in our previous lesson. So when you have radius, if radius is given in the question and you are asked to find the circumference or the perimeter of that circle, what you do is that you use this formula, which is 2 pi r. 2 pi r when r, or which is radius, is given in a question. You are being given a radius in a circle and you are asked to find the circumference or the perimeter of that circle. Make use of this formula, 2 pi r. You know this value pi represents 22 over 7. All right, then the other one, if you are given a diameter in that question and you are asked to find the circumference or the perimeter of the circle, if the diameter is given, what you use is this. You say pi times diameter. That is the formula you use. Pi times diameter. That's the formula for calculating the perimeter or the circumference of a circle when diameter is given in that question. Be very, very careful when you are to solve questions that has to do with any of these two, so that you don't use one wrongly. So when you are given radius, you use 2 pi r. When you are given diameter, you make use of what? Pi times diameters. One may ask, what if I change this diameter to radius? Can I still make use of this one? Yes, perfect. You can make use of it. All right, then we move to the next one. Here we have a semicircle. That's where semi means half a circle. Okay, just like the shape of your protractor. All right, from the center of the circle to any part of the circumference, that still remains the radius. So in a semicircle here, whereby you have the radius given, you may have the diameter given, like from somewhere here all the way to here, you can have it. But this time around, we are dealing with the one that radius is given. So when radius is given, okay, and you are asked to find the perimeter or circumference of the semicircle, just like the word implies, semicircle, which is half a circle. So it will be half the formula of a circle. Okay, so as you can see here, the formula of a circle when radius is given is 2 pi r, and here we have semicircle when r is given. So that will be half of 2 pi r. Can you see it now? Half of 2 pi r. That gives us what? The perimeter of the semicircle. I hope you understand it quite clearly. Grab this now, because I will ask you the question when you come for submission next week. I'll ask you one after another to tell me the formulas for calculating each of these shapes. So you better know it now, because I'll ask you. All right, so we move to the next one. Examples. Find the perimeter of the following shapes. Number 1, you have a circle where radius is given 7 meters, and you have a circle where diameter is given 20 centimeter, and you have a semicircle where the diameter is given, which is 14 meters. Now recall, I gave you this formula that when you are finding this circumference on the perimeter of a semicircle when radius is given, you say half 2 pi r. The same thing goes with when you are being given the diameter in what? In a semicircle. The formula you will use there will be half pi times diameter. So everything is half when it has to do with what? The semicircle. Or you can solve the complete circle, after which you divide your answer by 2. All right, let's go to the example. So here we have the circle with a radius. Here we have a circle with diameter. Here we have a semicircle with diameter. Let's solve the first one. The radius is given to us as 7 meters, as you can see here. Then the formula for calculating the circumference of the circle when radius is given is 2 pi r. So let's demonstrate it here now. 2 over 1. 2 over 1 and 2, they are the same thing. Okay, because 2 divided by 1 is 2. I use 2 over 1 because this one is in fractional form. So we have to express this one in fraction. But it's not a must. But for it not to confuse you, that's why we have to do that. So 2 over 1 is something as 2. Okay, so we have our 2, okay, times the pi, which is 22 over 7, times then the radius, which is 7. That's 7 over 1. So when you look at the denominators and the numerator we have on top here, 7 can actually divide 7. So we say 7 divide 7. It cancels out. So you are left with what? 2 times 22, which will have here 2 times 22, which will give us 44 meters as our answer. Then here, the diameter is given as 20 centimeters. 20 centimeters. So remember the formula for calculating the perimeter or circumference of a circle when diameter is given. So that is pi times what? Diameter, as you all know. Then the circumference equal to pi is 22 over 7 times, then we times it to our diameter, which is what? 20 over 1. You remember what I explained here? 20 over 1 and 20, they are the same thing. So, and when you look at the numbers we have on top and the one we have below, you find out that 20 is not divisible by 7 and 22 is not divisible by 7. So we can times through, after which we divide by 7. So we can now say 22 times 20. which will give us 440. Then 7 times 1, which will give us what? 7. Let me show you where I did the rough work. Here is where I did the rough work. You have 440 divided by 7. Okay? So 7 divide itself will give us 1. Okay? Then 7 divide 44, because we cannot take the first digit. The reason why we cannot use 7 divide 4, because 4 is actually smaller than 7. So we combine 2 digits by saying 7 divide itself 1, 7 divide 44. Remember, 7 times 6 will give us 42. So 7 divide 44 will give us 6, remainder 2. So that 2 that remains, we place it in a number before the 0, that's before the next number. So we have it as 2 and 0. That will give us what? 20. So we can now say 7 divide 20 will give us 2, remainder 6. And remember, we have cancelled out all the numbers, so we have to place our point. Okay, so adding 0 to that remainder 6 will give us 60. 7 divide 60 will give us 8, remainder 4. We add 0 to that 4. Then 7 divide 40 will give us 5, remainder 5. Okay, we add 0 to that. Then 7 divide 50 will give us 7, actually remainder 1, because 7 times 7 will give us 49. So 1 will be remaining. Let me take it again. We have 440 divided by 7. 7 divide itself 1. 7 divide 44 will give us 6, remainder 2. You place that 2 before the next number. That will make it 20 with 0 now. Make it 20. So 7 divide 20 will give us 2. Okay? And remember that the number has finished here. So you place your decimal point. Remember, 6 is what is remaining. Okay? Because when we say 7 divide 20, it will give us 2, remainder 6. So we have to put 0 to that 6. Okay, it becomes 60. 7 divide 60 will give us 8, remainder 4. Okay, we add 0 to that remainder. 7 divide 40 will give us 5, remainder 5. We add 0 to that remainder, which is 50 now. 7 divide 50 will give us what? 7. And if we continue in that order, the number continues to go on and on and on. So 7 divide 50 will give us 7, remainder 1, because 7 times 7 will give us 49. Alright, so that's how we got that. So we now have 62.857, which we can actually narrow down to 2 decimal places. That means you have to round this one up. 2 decimal, after decimal point, you count 2 numbers, 1, 2. That means our answer has to stop here. Then you round up this one, since 7 can round up a number. Numbers that can be rounded up start from 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So adding 1 to this 5, that makes it 6. Your answer will now be 62.86 centimeters. That is to 2 decimal places. Now let's get back to our solution. That's why we got this 62.86 centimeters as our answer. Then the next one, 14 meters as a diameter in a semicircle. All right. So as we have it here, we can now simply say that, remember, this means half a circle, right? Half a circle. So remember the formula, that will now actually be half. Remember, because it's a semicircle, so you have to say half. Okay, half, that's 1/2, as you have it here. 1/2 times pi. 1/2 times pi, that's what you're supposed to have here. 1/2, that should be half of this shape. Half, that's 1/2, as you have it here. 1/2, okay, 1/2 pi times diameter, because it's a semicircle. I hope you are following. So therefore, we can now say circumference of the circle, half. Okay, what's 1/2 times the pi, which is what? 22/7, times what? Diameter, which is what? 14. So from there, we can actually have it this way now. We can now say 7 divide 14 will give us 2. 7 divide 14 will give us 2. Okay, 7 divide 14 will give us 2. Okay, then 2 divide itself 1. 2 divide 22 will actually give us what? 11. It will give us 11. So now that we have this, we can solve it this way, which means our answer will now be 11 times will give us what? 22 as our answer. 22. That's 22 meters. 22 meters. Sorry, my handwriting there. 22 meters. 22 meters. 22 meters. That is the answer to this question. 22 meters. 22 meters. So, or you can actually solve it this way. After cancelling out, you divide your solution by 2. That's after solving everything. You divide whatever you get there by what? 2. Divide it by 2. And when you divide it by 2, you still have the same 22 as your answer. You have the same 22 as your answer. Alright, I hope it's quite clear here. Hope it's quite clear. That's 22. Alright, let me explain again. As you have it, 14 the diameter, and the formula will be equal to half pi times what? Diameter. So this is circumference, half, which is 1 over 2, times 22 over 7, which is our pi, times our diameter, which is 14 over 1. So 7 divide 14 will give us 2. Then 2 divide 22 will give us 11. So we are left with what? 11 and 2, which will now give us 22 as our answer, just like I demonstrated already. That will give us 22 as our answer. 22 what? Meters. 22 meters. Okay. So that's the answer to this question, 22 meters. All right, now let's move to the next outline here. Let's move to the next outline. Here we have other examples. From here, we are asked to find the perimeter of the following. Here is a basic question, basic 2018. And we have the shape labeled A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and we'll come back to the what? A. Alright, so to find the perimeter of this shape, is for us to add all the distances around the shape. We can start from here. AB plus BC plus CD plus DE plus EF plus FG, and going back to where you started, GA. So when you add all these sides, that gives you the perimeter of this shape. Remember, we don't add the inner part. When you look at this shape, we seem to have two shapes here. That's the triangle and the rectangle, as you can see. And this line indicator here means that this triangle are equal in length. All the sides are equal in length. And what type of triangle is that? That is a equilateral triangle, whereby you have the triangle A, B, C. Okay? We have to find this side, because this side is not given. This side is not given. This side is not also given. So we have to find those unknown sides so that we can add all of them together to give us the perimeter of this particular shape. Now look at how we are to do it. Look at where I did the rough work. I did the rough work here. Alright, so as you can see, from here to this place is 26, right? Remember, this is a rectangle. G, D, E, F is a rectangle. So in a rectangle, we say that opposite sides are equal. As you can see, G, D is equal to F, E. Okay? So if this place is 26, then from here to here, G, D should also be what? 26. I hope you are following. Let's now strike it now. So since both of them should be equal, that means this side should be equal to this side. And we are being given some part of it here. You have 6 here. You also have 6 here. Okay? That means some part of it are being given. Only that we still have this part that is not given to complete, so that we will now have 26 here. This place will also give us what? 26. So we have 6 given. From G to A is 6. Then C to D is 6. But we don't know A to C. That will complete it so that it will become 26. So 6 plus 6 that we have here will give us 12. So how many numbers are remaining for it to become 22? That is actually 14. So that when we say 6 plus 14 will give us what? 20. And 20 plus 6 will give us what? 26. So that we now have 26 here, and we also have what? 26 here. You can see that we have found this unknown side by trying to complete this shape. All right. Then having known that, since AC is 14, what do you think of this side? Because it's an equilateral triangle, all sides are equal. So if this place is 14, what will be this place? That will definitely be what? 14. This place will also be 14. Okay, so you can see we have found this side. So what you should always do is that the side that is given complete, use it to know the side that is not given complete. If some part of it is being given, subtract it from the bigger, the one that is complete. That will give you the remaining one. Just like saying 6 plus 6, which is 12. So 26 minus that 12 will give us what? 14, the remaining part of the shape. So that this side will be 26. This side will also be what? 26. Now, as you can see this side now, DE is given in our question, DE. You can see DE is given as 8. So, it's given as 8. And we know that the opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. So, if this place is 8, then this place is also what? 8. You can see we have found all the sides. All we need to do now is to do our addition of all sides, because the perimeter means distance around the shape. So, as you can see now, A, B plus B, C plus C, D plus D, E plus E, F plus F, G plus G, A. Going back to where you started, that gives us the perimeter of this shape. As you can see where I demonstrated here, AB plus BC plus CD plus DE plus EF plus FG, as you can see, plus GA, and that completes it. So, and we have the sides here, BC, as we have demonstrated. So we can add all of them together here. Remember, we are starting from AB. That's 14 here, plus 14, plus 6, plus 8, plus 26, then plus 8. Look at these numbers as I call it so that you find out that they are complete. 14, plus 14, plus 6, plus 8, plus 26, plus 8, and finally plus 6. When you add all of them together, it will give us what? 82 meters as our answer. I hope it's very clear, just like the way I demonstrated it here. I just showed you how to find the various sides that are not given. All right, so that gives us the answer to that particular question. Then we have another one here. We have another one here. So for us to find the perimeter of this shape, all we need to do is to get the parts that are not given, the various parts that are not given. As you can see, this side is not given and this side is not also given. How do we get them? Like where I demonstrated it here. Okay, just imagine this shape being complete. Just imagine this shape. Remember, something is being cut off from here that would have completed this shape like this. Okay, let me just have a sketch. Let me try to draw something here. As you have it like this. Okay, let's say we complete the shape in this format. Sorry that the thing looks quite crooked. Okay, so let's assume that you complete the shape like this. Okay, that will make the shape now. This side will be opposite to this side, and we say that opposite sides are equal. If this place is 7, then from here to here should also be what? 7. But the problem here is that part of it is given 3, right? From here to here is given, but we don't know this place that is not given, which is something as from here to here, right? C, D, which is not given. So how do we get it? So we know that from here to here is 3, just like we have it from here to here is 3. Okay, and we have the complete one as 7. So for us to get the remaining one, because from here to here is supposed to also give us 7, just like we have it here. So, and one part of it is given as 3, from here to here 3. How many is remaining for it to become 7? That is 4. Okay, that means CD will be what? 4 centimeters. Good. Now going by this one, let me explain this one again. Remember, just like I drew this one, it wasn't part of the shape. So I drew this one to complete this particular shape here. Alright, just imagine the shape being complete. Nothing was cut off from it. And you have FE being 7. This place is supposed to be equal. If it happens that this one is like this, okay, that means from here to here, she also give us what? 7. But being that this side is being cut off, and we have 3, so how many is remaining so that it will complete for it to become equal? So we now have it as what? 7 minus 3, which will give us what? 4. Okay, that will give us 4. That completes the shape. That means from here to here is 4. Now if we have from here to here as 5, okay, then from here to here should also give us 5. But if you observe closely, you find out that this one is complete as 5. Then from here to here is 2. So how many is remaining so that it will complete the 5? So that means 2 plus what will give us 5? That is 3. That means from here to here is 3. And if this place is given 3, what is remaining for it to become 5? That is 2. That means from here to here will be 2. As you can see from our diagram, from the one we are solving, you find out that we have found this place to be 4, okay, and we also found this place to be 2. So we can actually add all of them by starting here: AB plus BC plus CD plus DE plus EF plus FA. You stop at where you started. So from there you can now add all of them together. That will now be 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 7 plus 5. That will give you the answer to that. Now let's have a look at it now. 3 plus 3 is 9. Okay, 9 plus 4 will give us what? 13. Sorry, 3 plus 3 is 6. Sorry, 3 plus 3 is 6. Then 6 plus 4 will give us 10. 10 plus 2 will give us 12. 12 plus 7 will give us 19. Then 19 plus 5 will give us 24 centimeters, just like we have it. Remember, 3 plus 3 6, 6 plus 4 10, 10 plus 2 12, 12 plus 7 19, 19 plus 5 will give us what? 24. That is the solution to that particular question. Now we move to word problems. Word problems on perimeter. Word problems on perimeter. Number 1, find the length of a rectangle. Find the length of a rectangle whose perimeter and width are 32 centimeter and 4 centimeter respectively. That means we are looking for the length, and the perimeter is given as 32 centimeter and the width is given as what? 4 centimeter. When you have this kind of expression respectively, it means that the first value there, the first quantity there, we have the first value. The second quantity, we have the second value, as you can see from here. All right, so for us to get this done, let's also identify some other questions there. Number 2 says, given that the perimeter of a square is 36 meters, find its length. We should find its length. Then number 3, calculate the perimeter of a regular hexagon whose side is 3 centimeters. Let's take the first one. Let's bring out the information. They say we should find length. So for the length, we write question mark. We are looking for it. Then the perimeter is given to us as 32. Okay, and the width is given to us as 4. Or is given to us as 4. So for us to solve this, remember the formula for calculating the perimeter of a rectangle, because a rectangle is being mentioned there. So we have to use the formula for calculating the perimeter of a rectangle, which is what? 2 bracket length plus width. Okay, then 32 is our perimeter. As you can see from here, we write it in place of our perimeter equal to 2 is there, bracket. We are looking for the length, so we leave it like that inside the bracket, plus the width is given to us as what? 4. So you write 4 in place of W. Then you open the bracket. 32 equal to 2 times L will give us 2L, plus 2 times 4 will give us what? 8. Now you collect like terms. You have 32. You have plus 8 here. When it goes to the other side, it becomes what? Minus 8 equal to 2L. 32 minus 8 will give us what? 24 equal to 2L. Alright, so divide both sides by the coefficients of L, which is 2. That's what we demonstrated here. We now have 24 over 2 equal to 2L over 2. So when you do that, can 2 cancel 2 here? You are left with what? Length. 24 divided by 2 will give us what? 12 centimeters. Then for the second one, given that the perimeter of a square is this, they have given us the perimeter of the square as 36 meters. They say we should find the length. So we are looking for the length. And remember that the formula for finding the perimeter of a square is 4 times length. 4 times length. So let's substitute the values. In place of our perimeter, we write 36 equal to, then 4 times length will give us 4 length. Okay, so we divide both sides by the coefficients of length, which is 4. That will now give us 36 over 4 is equal to 4L over 4. So 4, we cancel 4 here. Then we are left with L. Then 36 divided by 4 will give us 9, because 9 times 4 will give us 36. So that is the solution to this very one. Then the last question. Calculate the perimeter of a regular hexagon whose side is 3 centimeters. Regular hexagon. Remember, a hexagon is a polygon with how many sides? 6 sides. Hexagon. Polygon with 6 sides. You can see it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a hexagon. Alright? And they say each of each side is equal to 3 centimeters. Remember, they call it regular, meaning that all the sides are equal. Okay? So if this side is 3 centimeters, this side should also be what? 3 centimeters. This side 3 centimeters. This side the same thing. This side the same thing. This side the same thing. So, and the formula for calculating the perimeter of a regular hexagon will be what? 6, because it has 6 sides times the length given, which is the 3 now. So we can now say the perimeter will now be what? 6 times 3, which will give us 18 centimeters. Or you say 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 into 6. That will give us what? 18 as our answer. Alright, so this is where we'll be drawing the curtain for today. But before we conclude, here is your assignment. So you have to find solution to this. Polygon with 7 sides is called dash. Convert 5 kilometers to millimeter. Number 3, calculate the perimeter of the following. So you can see the various shapes. You find their perimeter. I hope it's quite clear here. Alright, so this is where we'll be drawing the curtain for today. In our next lesson, we'll be talking about the area of plane shapes. Alright, so have a wonderful day ahead. Bye.